Okay, I think I'll get going. All right. I'm just going to talk through my notes and also what's in the workbook so that you can fill that out. So you've got some specific notes that you can refer back to. And we're going to go through some different techniques that you can use for dealing with the inner chatter that can go on in your head, and particularly to lower your stress level and to help just quiet the busy brain and just sort of reset your nervous system, because often with the pressures of work or finances or family, different responsibilities you have, you can get into sort of a fight and flight where you're always on and you're always doing, and then your body can find it very hard to just calm down. You sort of forget how to do that. So instead of having a glass of wine, which can sort of add up and not help your health, to learn other ways to calm your nervous system. Okay, all right. Yeah. So yeah, we can end up with too much chatter in our heads, ruminating over busy thoughts. Critical chatter can leave us feeling overwhelmed, feeling wired, unsettled, and rather down. Why is this important? Chronic stress is a major cause of disease. It increases susceptibility to cancer and autoimmune diseases. And autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, vasculitis, Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, multiple sclerosis, reactive arthritis, type 1 diabetes, and psoriasis. Those are all autoimmune diseases. So having a high stress level for a long period of time it significantly hurts your health, because when you're in fight or flight, your immune system and your digestive systems are impeded because the cortisol and adrenaline are charging through your system. And also your body shuts down the systems that it deems aren't needed in a crisis. And if that goes on for a long time, then yeah, both the autoimmune system and your digestion is affected. So we need to remember how to switch off, and that's a really important thing, and to check in with yourself to notice your stress level. You cannot separate well-being of our mind and the health of the body, despite Western medicine pretending that they're completely unconnected. There's been a lot more research in the last 5-10 years that's shown just how very connected they are. So what is psychological becomes biological, because if we're very stressed, that affects the body as well. And I'll explain that in detail. Our daily emotional lives directly interact with our physiology. It's paramount that we understand this and that we begin to monitor our own well-being and care for ourselves for the sake of our health. Simple grounding and healing techniques repeated through your week can make a significant difference. Just a second here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and you can just fill out the workbook as we go. The biggest misconceptions that can sabotage your parasympathetic nervous system and your ability to calm down. First of all, just drinking stimulants like coffee, soft drink, and energy drinks repeatedly through the day. The problem I found, and I've watched this in myself, is sometimes when I'm tired, I drink more coffee, but then when I get to the end of the day, I can't actually sleep because I'm all wired. So sometimes when we're tired, we have to allow ourselves to be tired so the body can shut down, so we can sleep longer. And so you've got to be careful to not use stimulants, colas with caffeine, because then when you can slow down, your body won't slow down because you've taken all the stimulants. Secondly, breathing through the mouth. It's very interesting. I'm going to go more into this in another session, but there's a significant difference in breathing through the mouth and breathing through the nose. Breathing through the nose, you take in more oxygen, and also it warms the air before it goes into the body, and also it filters out bacteria and viruses and other particles. So there's a whole bunch of things that are actually much healthier about breathing through the nose. And I read a couple of books about this recently and experimented with it too. Breathing through the nose also lowers your anxiety level and it improves your sleep. So as an experiment, I thought, okay, well, during the day, I'll just, when I'm aware of breathing through my mouth, I'll shut my mouth and breathe through my nose. And over 2 weeks, I sort of retrained myself to breathe through my nose most of the time. And suddenly my sleep shifted and it got quite a bit better. So that was just an interesting thing to consider. So drinking stimulants like coffee, just watch how much. And when you do that, breathing through your mouth, see if you can close your mouth and breathe through your nose. And on that, I also found out that there are many cultures that when babies are little, that they pinch the mouth shut and train babies to breathe through their nose in many cultures. And that's something, a bit of wisdom that we've kind of lost in Western culture anyway. And I thought that was quite fascinating. And third is taking too much screen time, particularly in the evening, that we can very easily be captivated by, Facebook and internet news and just checking when things go beep at us and switching from one to another screen. And that can be very unsettling and reduce our focus and reduce our calm. So just being a little more aware of that helps a lot. Okay, filling in the blanks in your notebook, in the big picture. We have much more influence over our mental and physical state than we realize. We have much more influence over the mental and physical state than we realize, and I'll go through that. The barrier to feeling happier isn't just psychological, it's also biological. So those are very, very connected, the psychology and the biology. And breathing is the only autonomic function that we can control, making it a powerful tool for well-being. I'll explain that. And autonomic is the word that goes in there. Now, autonomic body systems are things like our heartbeat, our digestive system, and we can't control our digestive system directly. We can't control how blood is pumped around our body. The body just does that automatically. However, breathing is the one thing that we do automatically, but we can actually control it. And that gives us a power that we can actually use to lower our stress levels. And that's something that I'll go into today. And the next one is breath work is a vital skill that is learnable and within reach. Okay. So, okay, just got a note here. Okay. Yep. Okay. You use singing to control your breathing. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm in a choir and, it's very good for stress because it gets you breathing and breathing deeply. So yes. Yep. Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to go into the 5 steps that can help calm that inner critical chatter and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, there are many different ways of doing this, but these are some that you can use. So first of all, I'll just name the steps and you can write them in if you've got the workbook in front of you. And then I'll go into each of those steps in more detail and explain what those steps are. So I'll go through steps 1 through 5 and just name what they are, and then we'll go through them. Okay, so step 1 is awareness, awareness of your mental state. So the awareness step, I'll let you write those in. And the second one is focusing on one device at a time. So step 2 is focusing on one device at a time. Let me write that in. Okay, and then step 3, schedule times to recharge. Schedule times to recharge. Step 4 is breath work. And we're going to go through what I call 5-finger breathing. And that's a particular breathwork exercise that's very useful. So step 4 is breathwork, 5-finger breathing. And step 5 is unwind time in the evening. Unwind time in the evening. Okay, we'll dive in. Okay, first of all, awareness, as I was just touching on before, it's very important. And I found this extremely useful. And I've been talking to some other people on LinkedIn who are high achievers and realizing that many people really are very aware of how they are in the world and what's going on for them, and check in with themselves regularly and really manage themselves. And that when I was really quite lost in post-traumatic stress, I didn't do this. I felt like my emotions and the flashbacks and the things that were going on in my head sort of ran me. And it's taken me some years actually to heal enough and to reclaim control and sort of self-awareness of being able to dive in and take charge of me again and what's going on up here. And we do actually have a lot more control than most of us take. So the awareness step is about pausing during the day and checking in with yourself. And a lot of people put a couple timers on during the day, and so they go off, maybe mid-morning, mid-afternoon, early evening, and they just stop and just sort of take note. What are my emotions? What's going on for me right now? What's my stress level? And just pause. And are you feeling any particular emotions? And if you can, name them. And naming your emotions, naming what's going on for you, actually reduce its power by 50%. So if you're lost in anxiety and going, I'm anxious, just doing that helps start calming that, because instead of being lost in the emotion, you're naming it and sort of, I suppose, taking it out of your head and holding it and sort of going, okay, this is what I'm feeling. So rather than it running you can be conscious of it and then start managing it, which makes a significant difference. So, are you having lots of busy thoughts charging through your head, or is it quiet? Just to be aware. And often we have many irrational thoughts and worries, and which is perfectly normal. However, it's essential to notice this and to not get lost in those thoughts. And I'll give you a breathwork exercise that can very specifically help you manage and calm busy thoughts. So first step is awareness. Okay, I'm going from here. Second is focus on one device at a time. It's very easy for us to have a lot of things going on at the same time, particularly now because there are so many amazing apps and things that we can find on the internet, things that we can find on YouTube, TEDx talks, or an email from a friend, or a Zoom call, or a FaceTime and a phone call. And all those things can come together and be very overwhelming. And it's a really good discipline to limit your switching time between devices, because there's quite a penalty in the focus that you lose and the ability to concentrate if you're switching devices all the time. And some people, I know my son does this quite a bit, will spend 25 minutes on one task and then take a 5-minute break. And if he wants to check his Facebook or something else, he'll do that during the break. But to save that 25-minute block to do a task. So trying to stay with that. I mean, you might have a phone that, yes, it might ring sometimes, but not to go back and forth, because that switching penalty can leave you scattered, frazzled, and drastically lower your productivity. So just manage that. Just be aware of that. Okay. Okay. Scheduling 2 things to recharge yourself. Scheduling recharge time. Now I've got 2 thoughts here. The first is a concept of giving yourself something to anticipate And I call this tickets on the fridge. And a friend of mine gave me this idea, which was delightful, was basically saying, find some things that you enjoy doing, book them. And if they're an event, a performance, stick the tickets on the fridge. And then every time you go into the kitchen, you see those tickets and you think, oh, wow, I'm going to go to that play, in 3 weeks. And every time you go in the kitchen, you sort of go, oh, right, yes, I've got that to look forward to. And if you've always got some things to look forward to, particularly when you're very stressed, when you're going through a hard time, if you've got months at work, like at the end of the financial year, you've been really busy. It's good during that time to book a weekend away, or to book the theater performance, or book the football game, whatever it is that you enjoy, to have something to look forward to and make sure you can anticipate it. And sometimes those things don't turn out great, but you've had those tickets on the fridge and that bit of anticipation every time you walked into the kitchen. So you've given yourself that little bit of dopamine from something that doesn't steal your focus. It's just there when you go into the kitchen, and it's that little bit of joy. And then sometimes those things are just wonderful, but giving yourself those things to anticipate. And the second one is I got this out of the Happiness Advantage. It was a book, and I'll give you the details of this. There was the American the American Psychological Society funds research. And up until, I think it was 1994, out of their research projects that they'd fund for psychology in the United States or internationally, 17 of them would be negative and 1 would be positive. So there would be, researching depression, or researching anxiety, or researching all the problems. And they realized that there was often only one research on, what makes you happy, or what makes you productive, or what makes you recover from depression, or what makes you never have depression. And so they realized they needed to shift the focus to happiness and people who are doing well, and learn from what people are doing well, not just from disease or dysfunction. And in that, they were sort of saying, okay, what do you do well? What do you enjoy? What are you good at already? And they called one of the terms for that is signature skill. So what are you good at, to remind yourself of your competence and to give yourself satisfaction, and just that charge of confidence that, hey, I know I'm good at this. So often it might be that you're in a choir. It might be that you play music. It might be gardening. It might be woodworking. I often like making, I might bind a book or do some artwork. But if you book little chunks of time regularly with things that you're good at, then it reminds you that you are good at it, that you're competent, and it gives you that little rush of dopamine saying, yes, oof, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. And that really helps keep us happy. So those are the kinds of things that sort of turn on your happy switch. So yeah, think of what are some of your signature skills? What are the little things and the big things that give you joy, that you're already good at? And yeah, you could play music, dance, choir, go running, whatever it is like that, building something, and book some short bits of time or long bits of time to do those things. When I work at home, every once in a while, I'll take 20 minutes and go outside and do a bit of gardening. And it sort of grounds me because I see what time of day it is and the weather. But also it's just satisfying because it's something I'm good at, and I can pull up some weeds and I feel like I've accomplished something, and then I can go back on the computer and go on with that. So give yourself something to anticipate, tickets on the fridge, and do something that you're good at to remind yourself. And I'm just going to give you that information about the book in chat. Let's see, here we go. Chat. Yeah. Right. So now I'm curious what some of your signature skills are. What are some of the little things that you do to recharge? Just put something in chat. I'm curious to hear. If there's little things that you like doing that help you just sort of recharge and so okay, I will go on, but I will check back in what you put in there. Okay, the next one is breath work, and we've got plenty of time, so we're fine. What we're going to do here is what I call the 5-finger breathing exercise, and you can do this with me. This is also something you can do with kids. You can do it with workmates, with elderly parents. Breath work is the fastest way to calm down your nervous system. It's incredibly powerful. You don't have to care about it. You don't have to believe in it. It's a physical process. And if you do the breath work exercise, it just calms down your nervous system. So I found it very, very useful. And I'll do breath work exercises maybe 3 times a day. So it's something that genuinely makes a big difference. And if you've got a busy mind and you need to quiet down because you really need to go on and do your next tasks and be productive, it's very useful there. If you've got a lot of emotion going on, if you've had a interaction with somebody that's been negative and you're all upset, but you've got to walk into a meeting, it's very good to do breath work. And you can also do it without other people noticing. So what I'm showing you today is going to be quite obvious, but the breathwork exercises you can do without necessarily anybody noticing what you're doing. So it's a very useful thing. You can do it when you're in traffic. Okay, for this, I'm going to put on a video and let's see. See, I haven't shared things on a webinar before, so we'll just see how this goes. Share, how to do screen. Yeah, okay. Let's see, I will do that one. Okay, I hope you can see a big hand there, and I will start the video. Okay. And for this, it's 11 minutes, just so you know, and we'll go through the breathing exercise. Okay. Hello, I wanted to explain the 5-finger breathing technique. First, I'll explain why it's useful, and then we'll go into the breathing exercise. Okay, breath work is the absolute fastest way of lowering your stress level. And it's really efficient. You don't have to care about it. If you just do it, it's a physical process that calms the body. It moves your body out of fight and flight into activating your parasympathetic nervous system. It starts lowering your adrenaline and lowering your cortisol levels so your body can calm down and recover. So it's really, really useful. Now, sometimes when you're all wound up, you might be angry or frustrated or grief-stricken. There'll be lots of things going on, and you just need to calm down. And you might be too wound up to meditate, or meditation just doesn't work for you. All those are great reasons to do this. Now, breath work or breathing as a body system is an autonomic system, which is the same as your heartbeat or your digestion. That is, that it happens whether you think about it or not. You just keep breathing. You automatically do that. However, breath work or breathing is the only autonomic body system that we can actually control. So we can actually change how our breathing is done, what our breathing rhythm is,
And that is a really, really powerful thing. So being able to control your breath and just doing that for 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a massive difference of just choosing to calm yourself down with breath work. Okay, so that's why it's useful. Called 5-finger breathing technique. And what we're going to do is breathe in and out as we move our finger up and down each finger. So breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. And we're just doing this fairly quickly at first, and then gradually slowing down the breathing. Now, the body works at absolute peak when you're breathing in and out quite slowly at about 5.5 or 6 seconds breathing in and 5.5 or 6 seconds breathing out. That is the absolute peak that's been found by a whole bunch of researchers. But when we're busy in our days, we can't just dive into that and do that. We wouldn't be able to slow down to that right away. It would generally be uncomfortable. So what we're going to do is start by breathing in and out at 3 seconds each, breathing in for 3 seconds, breathing out for 3 seconds, breathing in for 3 seconds, breathing out for 3 seconds. And then we'll move it to 4, and then we'll move it to 5. Okay? And that will allow you to slow down. So this will be sort of a visual meditation. And the whole point of doing the 5 fingers part is because it gives your mind something to do, something to focus on. So it's much easier to stay with it and actually to calm down. Okay? So here we go. All right. One hand. And you can do this anywhere. You can sit in a parked car and do this if you had something going on at work and you just needed to pull over. It's a very useful technique in a lot of ways. Okay? So we're just breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3, 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 breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3. Now, as part of this, it's also important just to check in with yourself and sort of say, how am I feeling? What emotion is going on with me right now? And what is my stress level? So take a minute and just pause before we go any further and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your stress level right now? And if you're feeling any particular emotion, rage, frustration, grief, depression, anxiety, whatever, just name it. I am feeling whatever. And naming what you're feeling drastically reduces the power of emotions over us. Because instead of us being captivated by them, we can separate the emotion from how we're feeling. So we say, okay, that's frustration, that's rage. And it doesn't just consume us. It's sort of a separate thing that we go, this is what's going on for me right now. Okay, we're going to keep going. So just hold that in mind and work on lowering your stress level. I'm going to do this again, just at 3. So breathing in, 2, 3, and breathing out. 3, 2, 3. Breathing in for the count of 3, and breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. Good. And just notice how you feel. We're going to go to 4 seconds. So breathing in for the count of 4, and breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out to count to 4. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. You're going to do that again at 4, and then you can go to 5. Okay. And if at any time you're uncomfortable, please just stop, go back to your normal breath, and rejoin when you feel comfortable. Another round at 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 3, 4. Breathing out. 2, 3. Breathing in and breathing out. 2. Just notice how you feel. Is there a shift from when we started? All right, now we're going to go to 5 seconds breathing in and 5 seconds breathing out. Okay, this is our, we'll do this twice and that will be okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and breathing out. 2, 3, 4, breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and breathing out. 2, 3, 4, breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Okay. We're going to do one last round, and then we're getting down to 5. 5. The count of 5 for breathing in, the count of 5 for breathing in. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. And breathing in. Out. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out. 3, 4. Okay, now again, check your stress level, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel now? And is that different? And what is your emotional state? What are you feeling now? And if you were feeling strong emotion at the beginning, how are you feeling now? I found this is a really useful technique along with square breathing to just calm my nervous system, slow down, and allow myself to think a lot more clearly just through the breath work. And remember, this is a technique you can use any time of day. Very useful, and just another way of slowly calming yourself down.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. Yep. Thanks for the note, Will. Yes. Yeah. Heartbeat went down 5 points. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I genuinely use this regularly. There's a few different breathing techniques that make a big difference. And also, I find when the busyness in your mind goes down, I feel much happier. It just leaves room, takes away all the noise in your head, and leaves a lot more room for joy, and you don't get overwhelmed so much, and makes life a lot easier to manage because you're not in overwhelm. You're not having so much going on in your head that you can't manage what the day-to-day stuff is. Okay, the last of the steps is unwind in the evening. And I used to work until I was exhausted, worked like a mad thing. Uh, and then I'd try to sleep, and I couldn't sleep. I'd lie awake with my mind churning, staring at the wall. My nervous system had no time to slow down. So it was still charging around. I was like, okay, it's time to sleep. And, my brain was still going 100 miles an hour. And so was my body. And I realized that I really needed to stop work by 7 p.m. and genuinely unwind. And it's good to physically slow down. It's good to dim the lights if you're watching TV or reading, to have a lower light level than you would during the day. Uh, I often have a ritual at the end of the day to, after dinner, to put a nightgown on and a bathrobe, to take off my shoes and put slippers on, or you're taking a shower. But whatever your ritual is, to let your body know that it's the end of the day and it's, the workday is over and you can slow down. So to develop some sort of routines. And thank you for your notes. I appreciate them. Thank you for your, and build your own routines for whatever it is at the end of the day. So your body goes, okay, it's not work time now. I can slow down. So yeah, I do turn the lights down, which at first I found, I kind of didn't want to do. I resisted. I still wanted bright lights all evening. And I realized that lower light levels, lower noise levels, and just slowing down, changing my clothes, taking a shower, all those things let my body know, let my nervous system know it was okay to calm down. And then when you're sleeping better, your happiness level goes up because your body has time to recharge. And also, one of the just last point here, I was reading a book about memory, and it was saying the biggest job of memory is to figure out what to forget. And I thought, whoa, no, that's backwards. And then it was sort of saying, hey, there's so many things that you're stimulated with every day. You can't possibly remember all those things, but you need to decide what you're going to forget. So, if you take a train, you don't want to remember all the ads on the walls. You don't want to remember all the people's faces that were on the train. You need to just let that go, at least 95% of it. If you walk past, posters in the train station, or if there's things on the wall at work, you need to let go of those at the end of the day. Those aren't things you need to remember. There's many small conversations you have that are routine every day. When you order lunch, you don't need to remember that. So the biggest job of the body, or the memory, sorry, is actually to figure out what to let go of. But at the end of the day, it's sort of like you walk into your evening with a stack of folders of all the things that have come at you during the day. And with all those folders, you need to figure out what to do with them. And most of them, you can throw out. I don't need to know that. I don't need to remember that. It's actually not important. But the others, you need to file them somewhere. And so the downtime in the evening and for sleep time, it's time to file all those bits of information away somewhere. And if we don't file them away, we can't retrieve them. So when we're overwhelmed, all those bits of information don't get organized, they don't get filed, and then you can't retrieve them easily. So my last bit of wisdom for today is that having that quiet time having that downtime in the evening and having a good sleep allows your brain to figure out what to forget and figure out what to remember and file it and integrate it with the other things that you know. So yeah, well, I hope that's been useful. And yeah, just as also to all these points. I hope you've got them down on your notebooks or your workbooks. But awareness, focus on one device at a time, schedule, 2 things to recharge, your tickets on the fridge and the signature skills, doing the breath work, and unwinding in the evening. So those are all the things that can help you be a little happier and to quiet the inner chatter, the inner critic that's in your brain, and quiet those voices so that you can rest and that you can feel happier in your life. And many of these skills are also things that I'm developing in my meditative growing workshop. And that's a 30-day program that teaches a lot of these skills in more depth. So if you want to know more about that, I can send you some information. And that's going into breath work and also a lot of mental health management skills, but wrapping it up in a fun workshop that is a creative workshop. So thank you very much, everyone. And if you've got any questions, you're welcome to add them to chat. And otherwise, I will say goodbye. And thank you very much.